Disappointment is an inevitable part of life. People will let us down. Situations will fall short of our expectations. And sometimes, despite our best efforts, things simply won't go as planned. The instinctive response in such moments is to react, to express frustration, anger, or sadness. But what if we chose a different approach? What if, instead of reacting, we paused, accepted the situation, and responded with quiet composure? There is a profound power in non-reaction, one that not only protects our peace, but also transforms the way others perceive and engage with us. When someone disappoints us, it's natural to feel hurt. These feelings are valid, but reacting impulsively often does more harm than good. A heated response might escalate the situation, while a silent retreat can leave us stewing in our own negative emotions. Neither path serves us well. Choosing not to react doesn't mean suppressing or ignoring our feelings. It means giving ourselves the space to process them calmly before deciding how, or even if, we need to respond. This deliberate choice is an act of self-preservation, protecting our emotional balance and ensuring we don't act in ways we might later regret. Moreover, when we react strongly to disappointment, we inadvertently give power to the person or situation that upset us. Our reaction becomes a confirmation of their influence over us. By refusing to react, we take back that power. It sends a clear message: I am in control of my emotions, not you. This quiet strength often leaves others puzzled. They may have expected anger or defensiveness, but your calm demeanor challenges their expectations and in some cases even leads them to reflect on their actions. Acceptance, as simple as it sounds, is the cornerstone of this approach. Accepting disappointment doesn't mean condoning wrongdoing or resigning ourselves to unfair treatment. It means acknowledging reality without resistance. It's saying, this is what has happened, I can't change it, but I can choose how I move forward. Acceptance diffuses the emotional charge of disappointment, making it easier to navigate the situation with clarity and grace. Imagine a scenario where someone criticizes you unjustly. The immediate urge might be to defend yourself, to argue, or to prove them wrong. But what if you simply listened, thanked them for their perspective, and moved on? This response, grounded in acceptance and non-reaction, not only preserves your dignity, but also leaves the other person unsure of how to proceed. They anticipated conflict, but your calm response disrupts their expectations and often ends the encounter on a note of mutual respect. This practice requires strength and emotional maturity. It's not about ignoring your feelings or pretending that disappointments don't affect you. It's about choosing not to let those emotions dictate your behavior. It's about prioritizing your peace over the fleeting satisfaction of a reactive outburst. In doing so, you model a powerful example for others, showing that strength isn't loud or aggressive, it's steady, composed, and rooted in self-awareness. The beauty of non-reaction is that it doesn't just benefit you, it also influences those around you. When you meet disappointment with calm acceptance, you inspire others to approach challenges with a similar mindset. You create an environment of understanding and growth rather than conflict and resentment. This ripple effect can transform not only your personal relationships, but also your broader interactions with the world. So the next time you face disappointment, remember, reacting may be instinctive, but choosing not to react is transformative. In the silence of your non-reaction lies your greatest strength. Use it wisely. Acceptance is often misunderstood as passivity or surrender, but it is far from that. Acceptance is a deliberate choice, a strategy that empowers us to handle life's inevitable disappointments with grace and resilience. When someone lets us down or a situation doesn't go as planned, our natural tendency is to resist. We want to fight, argue, or fix what we perceive as wrong. But what if we approach these moments differently? What if, instead of resistance, we chose to accept what has happened, not as an endorsement, but as a means of maintaining our peace? Acceptance is not a sign of weakness. It is one of the strongest tools we can wield in the face of adversity. When someone disappoints us, they often expect a particular response. They might brace for our anger, prepare for an argument, or even hope to see us upset. Reacting in the expected way often validates their behavior or fuels the situation further. But when we respond with calm acceptance, we shift the dynamic entirely. They are no longer in control of the narrative. Instead, they find themselves navigating the unexpected, often confused by our composure. This disarms them and places us in a position of quiet authority. Acceptance doesn't mean we condone poor treatment or dismiss our own emotions. It means we recognize that we cannot change the past or control others' actions. What we can control is how we respond. By choosing acceptance, we free ourselves from the exhausting cycle of blame, anger, and resentment. We acknowledge what has happened, learn from it, and focus our energy on moving forward. This approach not only preserves our emotional well-being, but also allows us to act with clarity and purpose. Consider a situation where a colleague takes credit for your work. The immediate reaction might be to confront them angrily or complain to others. But what if you chose instead to let it pass without visible frustration? Perhaps you calmly document your contributions or bring them up in a professional manner at an appropriate time. By not reacting impulsively, you maintain your integrity and avoid escalating the situation. Meanwhile, your acceptance of the immediate disappointment leaves the other person unsettled. They anticipated a confrontation, but are instead met with a measured response that leaves them questioning their own actions. This doesn't mean we should never address issues or advocate for ourselves. Acceptance is not about being a doormat. It's about choosing the timing and manner of our responses wisely. When we accept a situation as it is, we can approach it with a clear mind, unclouded by reactive emotions. This clarity allows us to communicate effectively, resolve conflicts constructively, and sometimes even surprise ourselves with our own strength and creativity. Acceptance also has a profound impact on our inner peace. Resistance to what we cannot change only creates tension and frustration. When we accept reality, we stop wasting energy fighting against it. This doesn't mean we give up on striving for better outcomes in the future. It means we acknowledge the present as it is while focusing on what we can control moving forward. In this way, acceptance becomes a powerful form of self-care, a way of preserving our energy for what truly matters. Life is unpredictable and people will disappoint us. These truths are unavoidable, but how we respond to them is entirely up to us. By choosing acceptance over reaction, we confuse those who expect conflict and inspire those who witness our calm. We show strength not by overpowering others, but by mastering ourselves. And in doing so, we create a ripple effect, encouraging others to approach life's challenges with the same grace and resilience. Sometimes, the most powerful thing we can do is simply accept, and in that acceptance, find our own peace. Emotional resilience is the cornerstone of navigating life's inevitable challenges and disappointments. It is the ability to remain steady and composed even when circumstances threaten to shake our foundation. When people let us down or situations don't align with our expectations, the natural tendency is to feel overwhelmed or frustrated. These feelings are valid, but allowing them to dictate our actions often leads to outcomes we later regret. Developing emotional resilience empowers us to face such moments with strength and clarity, ensuring we respond thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. At its core, emotional resilience is about building the capacity to absorb life's blows without losing our balance. It doesn't mean we won't feel hurt, upset, or angry when things go wrong. It means we learn to process those emotions in a way that doesn't compromise our peace or harm our relationships. This is especially important when dealing with people who disappoint us. A reaction fueled by hurt or anger often exacerbates the situation, while resilience allows us to pause, reflect, and choose a response that aligns with our values and long-term goals. One of the most powerful aspects of emotional resilience is its ability to shield us from external negativity. When someone disappoints us, their actions can feel like a direct attack on our sense of worth or security. Without resilience, we may internalize these feelings, allowing the disappointment to define us. But with resilience, we recognize that someone else's behavior is not a reflection of our value. It is simply a moment in time, a challenge to navigate rather than a verdict on who we are. This strength doesn't come naturally to most people. It requires intentional practice. Cultivating resilience begins with self-awareness. Understanding our emotional triggers and patterns of reaction is the first step in learning to manage them. For example, if we know we tend to react defensively when criticized, we can work on pausing and taking a deep breath before responding. This small act of self-restraint creates space for a more measured and constructive reaction, one that preserves our integrity and keeps the situation from escalating. Another key to building resilience is cultivating a mindset of adaptability. Life is unpredictable, and clinging too tightly to expectations often leads to disappointment. Resilient individuals accept that change and uncertainty are part of the human experience. They focus on what they can control, namely their own thoughts and actions, while letting go of the need to control everything else. This adaptability not only helps them weather difficult situations, but also allows them to see opportunities for growth and learning in moments of disappointment. One of the most challenging yet rewarding aspects of emotional resilience is learning to forgive, not just others, but also ourselves. Holding on to resentment or guilt only prolongs the pain of disappointment. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is a way of releasing ourselves from that pain. It doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior or forgetting what happened. It means choosing to move forward without carrying the weight of anger or regret. This act of letting go is not for the benefit of others. It is an act of kindness toward ourselves. The beauty of emotional resilience is that it not only benefits us, but also influences those around us. When we respond to disappointment with grace and composure, we set an example for others to follow. Our resilience becomes a source of inspiration, demonstrating that it is possible to navigate life's challenges without losing our peace or perspective. It also fosters deeper, more meaningful connections, as people are drawn to those who handle difficulties with strength and dignity. End quote. In the end, emotional resilience is not about avoiding disappointment, but about rising above it. It is the quiet confidence that no matter what life throws our way, we have the strength to endure, adapt, and grow. By cultivating this resilience, we not only protect our own peace, but also contribute to a more understanding and compassionate world. Shifting perspectives is one of the most powerful tools we have to navigate disappointment. It allows us to step outside of our immediate emotional reactions and see situations in a broader, more constructive light. When people or circumstances fall short of our expectations, it's easy to focus solely on what went wrong. We feel hurt, frustrated, or even betrayed. And these emotions cloud our judgment. But by shifting our perspective, we can uncover lessons, opportunities, and even unexpected benefits in situations that initially seemed overwhelmingly negative. Disappointment is often rooted in unmet expectations. We build narratives in our minds about how things should be or how people should behave, and when reality doesn't align with these narratives, we feel let down. But what if we saw these moments not as failures, but as chances to recalibrate? Shifting our perspective means asking ourselves, what can I learn from this? How can I grow from this experience? Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, we can focus on what we can take away from the situation to improve ourselves or our future actions. For instance, imagine a close friend cancels on you at the last minute. The initial reaction might be anger or sadness, perhaps even a sense of rejection. But stepping back, you might realize that their cancellation freed up time for you to focus on something else you've been neglecting. Or perhaps it's an opportunity to reflect on the dynamics of your relationship and whether your expectations are aligned with reality. Shifting your perspective doesn't mean dismissing your feelings. It means expanding your understanding of the situation to include both challenges and possibilities. Another aspect of changing perspectives is cultivating empathy. When someone disappoints us, our instinct is often to judge their actions harshly. We see their behavior through the lens of how it affected us without considering what might have motivated it. By stepping into their shoes, we can gain a deeper understanding of their actions and perhaps even find forgiveness. Maybe the friend who canceled was overwhelmed with personal challenges they didn't feel comfortable sharing. Maybe the colleague who seemed to ignore your contributions at work was under pressure themselves and didn't realize the impact of their actions. Shifting our perspective to include others' experiences doesn't excuse bad behavior, but it allows us to respond with compassion instead of hostility. Perspective shifts are not limited to interpersonal situations. They also apply to how we view ourselves and our circumstances. When we face setbacks, it's easy to fall into a pattern of self-criticism or despair. But by reframing these moments, we can see them as part of a larger journey. A failed project, for example, can be viewed not as a sign of incompetence, but as a stepping stone towards success. Every mistake or disappointment carries within it the seeds of growth, if only we are willing to look for them. Adopting this mindset requires practice and intentionality. It's not always easy to see the silver lining in the heat of the moment, but over time, shifting perspectives can become a habit, a way of approaching life that transforms challenges into opportunities. It helps us let go of the need to control everything and accept that sometimes what we perceive as a setback is actually a redirection towards something better. And once this new perspective transforms you into something better, when we make a habit of shifting perspectives, we not only empower ourselves, but also influence those around us. Our ability to find positivity and meaning in difficult situations inspires others to do the same. It fosters an environment of understanding, resilience, and mutual support. People are drawn to those who can see beyond the immediate challenges and offer a broader, more hopeful outlook. Life will never stop presenting us with moments of disappointment, but our perspective shapes how we experience them. By choosing to see challenges as opportunities for growth and understanding, we reclaim control over our narrative. We transform disappointment into a powerful catalyst for change, leaving us stronger, wiser, and more at peace with the world around us. There is an undeniable power in the element of surprise when navigating disappointment or challenging interactions. People often anticipate certain reactions based on the situation they create or their understanding of us. When those expectations are subverted, it shifts the dynamic entirely, leaving them uncertain and sometimes even introspective about their actions. Responding to disappointment with acceptance and composure is a choice that not only protects our peace, but also has a disarming effect on others. When someone disappoints us, they might expect anger, defensiveness, or hurt. These reactions are predictable, and in some cases, they may even validate the other person's behavior. A heated argument or visible frustration reinforces their sense of control over the situation. However, when we choose acceptance instead, the predictability dissolves. They are left to confront an unexpected calmness, which often forces them to reevaluate their actions or assumptions. This subtle confusion is not about manipulation. It's about reclaiming our power and refusing to be drawn into a cycle of negativity. Imagine a scenario where someone criticizes you publicly, perhaps intending to provoke a reaction or undermine your confidence. The anticipated response might be defensiveness or an attempt to retaliate. But if, instead, you calmly acknowledge their perspective and move forward without engaging in conflict, the effect can be profound. The person who sought to rattle you finds themselves questioning their approach. Your lack of reaction not only preserves your dignity, but also redirects the focus back onto their behavior. In that moment, the spotlight shifts, and the strength of your composure takes center stage. This ability to surprise through acceptance is rooted in emotional intelligence. It requires an understanding of both our own emotions and the dynamics of the situation. It's not about suppressing our feelings, but about choosing how to express them in a way that aligns with our values and goals. When we accept what has happened without resistance, we free ourselves from the burden of reactive emotions and approach the situation with clarity and control. The ripple effect of this approach is remarkable. Acceptance often disarms not just the individual who disappointed us, but also those observing the interaction. People are drawn to those who maintain composure under pressure, as it signals strength, confidence, and emotional maturity. It creates a contrast that highlights the impulsiveness or negativity of the other party without the need for confrontation. Surprising others with acceptance also fosters a deeper sense of understanding and connection. Sometimes the act of not reacting allows space for genuine reflection and dialogue. It shows that we are not driven by ego or the need to win, but by a commitment to maintaining harmony and growth. This can lead to more meaningful resolutions and a stronger foundation for relationships, whether personal or professional. Of course, this approach doesn't mean we should tolerate disrespect or consistently prioritize others' comfort over our own well-being. It's about discerning when a calm, accepting response serves us better than a reactive one. It's about recognizing the power in choosing our battles and responding in ways that align with our values rather than being dictated by the behavior of others. Over time, this practice not only strengthens our own emotional resilience, but also shapes how others interact with us. When people realize that their attempts to provoke or manipulate are met with calm acceptance, they are less likely to engage in such behavior again. They learn to approach us with respect, knowing that we are not easily swayed by external pressures. Surprising others with acceptance is not just a strategy, it's a mindset. It's a way of affirming our own inner strength while encouraging others to rise to a higher standard of interaction. In choosing this path, we not only preserve our peace, but also inspire those around us to approach life's challenges with the same grace and composure. Sometimes, the most powerful statement we can make is the one we don't make at all. Fostering growth and positivity in the face of disappointment is not just a strategy for personal well being, it is a profound way to reshape the energy we bring into the world. When someone lets us down or a situation doesn't go as planned, it's natural to feel a pull toward negative emotions, frustration, anger, or sadness. However, these emotions, when unchecked, can trap us in a cycle of resentment and self pity. By consciously choosing to channel our energy into growth and positivity, we transform moments of disappointment into stepping stones toward a better version of ourselves. And when we disappointment at its core is a reminder that things didn't align with our expectations. It's a signal that something needs to be addressed, learned from, or adjusted. Instead of allowing it to linger as a source of discontent, we can reframe it as an opportunity for growth. Every challenge, every letdown carries within it the seeds of self-improvement. When someone's actions disappoint us, it's a chance to reflect on our boundaries, our communication, and our capacity for empathy. When circumstances fall short, it's an invitation to reassess our approach, refine our skills, or deepen our resilience. Positivity doesn't mean ignoring the hurt or pretending that disappointment doesn't sting. It's about acknowledging those feelings while consciously deciding not to let them define our response. Instead of dwelling on what went wrong, we can ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to grow stronger, wiser, or more compassionate? This shift in perspective not only lightens our emotional load, but also empowers us to take proactive steps toward personal and relational development. One of the most powerful ways to foster positivity is through gratitude. Even in moments of disappointment, there is always something to be thankful for, a lesson learned, a supportive friend, or simply the strength to endure. Gratitude shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have, creating a foundation of contentment that makes it easier to face challenges with grace. It's a practice that requires effort, especially when emotions are running high, but it's also one of the most transformative habits we can cultivate. Now, the key aspect of fostering growth is focusing on what we can control. Disappointment often stems from external factors, other people's actions, unforeseen circumstances, or outcomes beyond our influence. Dwelling on these factors only perpetuates feelings of helplessness. By directing our energy toward what we can control, our reactions, our mindset, and our next steps, we reclaim our agency. This proactive approach not only helps us move forward, but also reinforces the belief that we have the power to shape our own path. Fostering positivity also involves spreading it to others. When we choose to respond to disappointment with grace and acceptance, we set an example for those around us. We show that it's possible to rise above negativity and approach challenges with a constructive mindset. This ripple effect can inspire others to adopt a similar approach, creating a more supportive and uplifting environment. Positivity, when shared, becomes contagious and its impact extends far beyond the immediate moment. This doesn't mean we should ignore or avoid addressing issues that arise from disappointment. Sometimes growth requires difficult conversations, setting boundaries, or advocating for change. The key is to approach these actions with a positive intent, to seek resolution and understanding rather than revenge or validation. By staying rooted in positivity, we ensure that even our most challenging interactions are guided by a desire to build rather than destroy. Ultimately, fostering growth and positivity is about aligning our actions with the kind of person we aspire to be. It's about choosing to rise above disappointment, not by ignoring it, but by using it as a catalyst for something greater. In doing so, we not only transform our own experience, but also contribute to a world where resilience, understanding, and hope are the guiding forces.